Hello, welcome to another episode of Book Reviews. I'm Shahida Rahman. Anand Subhuti is a former UK political reporter who worked in the House of Commons. He describes himself as a disciple of Osho. So I'd like to give a warm welcome to Subhuti.
Thank you, Shahida.
Hello, hi, how are you?
Good, thank you very much.
Nice of you to join us today. Can you tell me a little bit more about your background?
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit strange, really, because there's no real connection between writing for daily newspapers as a political reporter in the House of Parliament and talking about the government and political crises and sex scandals and whatever's going on.
Yes.
And then suddenly I'm in India with an enlightened mystic learning meditation. And there's no real explanation why.
It's two different worlds, I think. Yeah.
I can only speculate, really, that I was lucky in the sense that I was given that job as a political reporter, which was a very good job, very early on. So I think I was about 25 or something when I got the job. So in a way, I fulfilled my career ambitions very quickly. And then that enabled me somehow to, take a look at the older journalists who, many of them were alcoholics or cynical and sarcastic, very bitter people, many of them. I was quite shocked by that.
Right.
And I thought, well, do I really want to end up like that? Maybe there's something more to life than, a scotch and soda in Annie's bar.
I mean, did you feel it would lead you to that, or it was quite depressing reporting about all this interesting politics?
Journalists have a interesting function. They stand between the politicians and the public, and they basically say to the politicians, we will let the public know about you, but we're going to make you look stupid.
Okay.
In a way.
Yes,
a bit of sarcasm, a bit of cynicism.
Of course.
Talking about their real motives rather than what they say. So, you tend to get affected by what you write. And if you're writing about politics and the motives of politicians for too long, I think you suffer.
Yes,
So
it can be quite depressing, and then again it can be quite exciting at the same time.
It is exciting. I mean, the House of Commons at its best runs on pure adrenaline, because, and especially for the journalists, because, there's a big debate, and is the government going to get the vote? Is it going to get the majority? The House divides at 10 o'clock, the vote comes in at 10 past 10, and then you're running for the phone because your first edition goes at 10:30.
Absolutely.
So you're on the phone, and the Prime Minister said this, and the opposition said that, and it's, in a way, it's a big rush.
It's very intense as well.
Very intense and very rewarding in a sense, because then the next morning you get the newspaper and you see your headline on the front page by Anand Subhuti or whatever I was called in those days.
Yes, absolutely. I'm sure you weren't called that at all. Okay. So how did you move into your mystic world, as you described?
I think it was, it's like one door closes, another one opens. It's like, basically I got bored with the job. I mean, because the number of times it's really exciting in the House of Commons is not that great. Not that many, really. You don't get a crucial vote every night, especially when the government has a big majority,
Yes.
So boredom. And then boredom led me to think, okay, is this what I want to do with my life? And then no. So, okay, I was getting interested in yoga. I was getting interested in the teachings of Gautam Buddha. The Maharishi had come, but this was back in the 70s, so it wasn't that long before that the Maharishi and the Beatles came from India, and that whole Indian thing happened. Donovan and all the other people, and even the Rolling Stones got religion for a while.
I see.
They dropped it, though.
What particularly attracted you to that? I mean, of all things, it's two different worlds completely, from politics and to something like this.
It is, Shahida, and I just don't have the answer to that.
Yes.
If I want to get kind of mystical about it, I say it would have something to do with past lives.
Yes. yes.
Probably something like, you've done this, you've been a social success now. Maybe this life you should look at something a bit more profound.
Right. Yeah.
Something like that.
Absolutely. So you became an author, did you, after coming out of your political arena?
Oh, I didn't become an author for a long time.
Oh, okay. So that came a lot later.
I was basically with Osho and his circus.
Okay.
I mean, it was like a roller coaster ride because he was
Right.
so controversial. He was attacking everybody.
Right.
Because he was basically attacking our belief structures.
Right.
Because he wanted, I think, to sacrifice beliefs for real experience, for deep experience. So he was very controversial, and I was basically working in his press office, trying to reply to all the people who were attacking him.
I see.
I was kept very busy.
I can imagine, actually. And then you wrote a book.
No, I didn't. Well, Osho died in 1990.
Right.
And I knew then that I wanted to write a book, but I could not figure out how to write it, what kind of format, because I never kept a diary. So I couldn't do a kind of day-to-day thing.
It's all from memory, really.
So I waited 20 years. I waited
Wow.
20 years to write that book. And then suddenly, this format of writing very short anecdotes, not even necessarily in the chronological order, just little cameo shots of things that happened between me and Osho, between Osho and the world. And within 6 months, I had 60 anecdotes. So I waited 20 years, and the book was written in 6 months.
Wow.
And that was more or less, I think, when we got to know each other.
Yes, absolutely. And I think also it's all from memory, as you said. As you sort of developed that, I suppose you sort of remembered all the other little things that you might have even forgotten for many years.
Yeah, so when you start,
Yes, it's a weird way how your brain can actually work, where if you really tap into the inner depths, you can remember things quite deeply. So,
I'm glad I wrote it all then, because it's all gone now.
It's all gone now. No, that's good. I mean, what's the kind of feedback you've had from the books that you've written? So you've published 4. Do you want to tell us a little bit about your books?
Okay, well, this is the first one, My Dance with the Madman.
Quite an unusual title.
Yeah,
who is the madman? Is
Osho.
it you?
No, it's Osho.
You.
I mean, I was mad to go with him, but he was the real madman.
Okay.
And he often called himself a madman. I mean, when he was in America, he collected 93 Rolls Royces.
Wow.
90.
Okay.
I drove everybody crazy, including me, because we had to explain it to the public, and we couldn't.
93,
and the whole of America was obsessed with these cars. So he was very illogical. He was outlandish, and so I thought My Dance with a Madman was the only possible title that expressed my love for him and my feelings about him.
Sure.
And then I wrote a collection of funny stories about India called The Pune Diaries.
I mean, that's where you spend a lot of your time. You visit India every year.
Every winter I'm there from November to March. And I love India. But after you've been there a few months, you start to hate it as well. So it's it's a love-hate relationship.
Yes.
I love India. I love the spirituality. I love the whole way of life there, but it also has such tremendous problems, and the poverty and the chaos and the pollution. It's like unbelievable.
Yes.
So it is very much a love-hate religion. But I can't not go. I have to go. When November comes, I have to buy a ticket. I have to go.
And I think it's when you come back, then you want to go back there, and then when you're there, you want to come back again. So,
that's right.
Okay, I mean, so I suppose he's really inspired you in your life since you came out of the political sort of journalism, really.
I suppose the most helpful thing has been the way he has kind of guided me. Of course, he's dead now, but when he was alive, into trying to be an authentic individual rather than relying on other people's borrowed ideas.
Mm.
You know, that if there was one thing I would have to be thankful for, it would be this guy showed me how to be myself.
Okay, and do you actually go and talk to people about what you've learned from him and really sort of teaching them, or do you
Not
learn from
really.
other people?
I really don't want to be a missionary.
Oh, okay. Is that something you decided not to do early on?
Yeah, it
can be quite mind-boggling, I think.
What?
To be a missionary and to...
Oh, I wouldn't. I mean, anyway, I wouldn't know how to. You know, it's like he's such a. You know, come and join my guru. He's only got 93 Rolls Royces. Okay. It's not like a big selling point.
Yes.
No, I like writing. I enjoy writing, and if people come across my work, you know, and they like the book, and that means something to them, then that's okay. But I don't want to go knocking on people's doors. Yeah. That doesn't work for me.
Okay, and I think you've had a good response with the books that you've published.
Well, as you probably know, Shahida, as an author, the people who like it tell you, and the people who don't like it don't say anything usually.
Well, sometimes they do. Sometimes they do. But I think it's just whoever's going to. You're always going to have haters, you know, or whatever work that you do, and but then again, you always have people who love your work as well. So and I think you've got a good fan base in India, haven't you? Mostly, would you say?
There's an international kind of spread around the planet of people who know about Osho, but there's of course a lot of people in India, and I probably sold most of the copies of this particular book anyway in India. But people have been very appreciative, and I'm sure there are people who haven't been, but they don't tell me.
Okay. Well, do you plan on writing any more?
I'm trying to write a book about Shakespeare.
Oh, that's something completely different.
Yeah, well, it's not really, because I'm taking Hamlet's famous quote, "To be or not to be," and I'm showing how the West is all about to be, in terms of be a success and be, famous and be successful. And then not to be is like India and the East, like dissolving the ego. So I'm doing it like that.
So you're comparing it with the West and the East as well.
It's a very unusual twist on Hamlet, basically.
That's really interesting to learn. I mean, do you have any advice for any authors who want to become published, any writers out there? What would be your top tip?
Get lost in life and get into trouble and have adventures, and then you'll have something to write about. And
something to learn from as well. No, I think that's quite humorous. I think it's an interesting concept, I think, but getting lost. I think if you don't make those mistakes, you don't sort of learn from life. I think life is a wild thing, and don't play it too safe. You know, take some intelligent risks. Okay. Go, travel the world, have a look around, find interesting things. Good. And I'd like to ask you, would you ever go back to the political arena again?
Good Lord. That would kill me, I think.
I mean, do you still keep tabs on what's happening?
Yes, of course. World? I mean, we've got the European referendum coming up with David Cameron on one side and Boris Johnson on the other. And it's kind of interesting. I haven't turned my back on it, but if I watch the news too much, it's bad for my meditation.
Yes, absolutely. And you got your website. Would you like to plug that for us?
Oh well, AnandSubhuti.com.
Okay.
4 books are up. Actually, there's a book up there about Shakespeare, but it's not really finished, so I wouldn't advise buying that one. Okay. I've just about rewritten the whole thing. But the best one, I think, is this one. I think this has the most to say, and I think it's probably the most interesting.
Fantastic. Okay, well, it's great to hear about your story, and do keep up the writing. I know it can be quite difficult for authors to continue writing, but I'm sure you've got lots of ideas in your mind that you want to bring out. So thank you very much for your time, and thanks for being part of Book Reviews.
Well, thank you, Shahida. It's very nice of you to invite me, and good luck with your books too.
Thank you. Okay, so that was our guest, Anand Subhuti, and I'd like to end the show with a famous quote by Mark Twain. Writing is easy, and all you have to do is cross out the wrong words. So thanks for watching. Until next time, goodbye.